Talk about this new wave of media calling Kendrick Lamar a Grammy Darling.
What? Grammy Darling?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
What the f?
The Joe Budden podcast say they believe Chance the Rapper's album deserves a Grammy win over the Clips and Kendrick Lamar's project.
I have no issue with anybody thinking that an album besides G and X should win Album of the Year.
You don't have to put another side down in order to big one side up.
The issue that I have is when people start to discredit Kendrick Lamar because he's winning.
This is really simple. Here's the real reason why you all don't like that Kendrick is being called a Grammy Darling. This is why. This is why you all don't like that Kendrick is being called a Grammy Darling. It bothers you all. But it bothers you all for a really, really, really interesting reason. Last year, Kendrick Lamar won 5 Grammys from one single. And none of us batted an eyelash, right? Certainly people like me had criticisms of Kendrick, very valid ones. We still do. But we never questioned the validity of his past Grammy wins. None of us did. None of us, right? None of us ever had a problem with the amount of Grammys Kendrick won, the amount of other awards that Kendrick won, and not once did anyone insinuate that Kendrick was, a Grammy darling, an awards darling, right? A critic's darling. No one really, insinuated that for the most part prior to Drake saying, Kendrick just opened his mouth, somebody hand him a Grammy right now, right? The reason you all don't like Kendrick Lamar being called a Grammy darling is because now you all don't get to pretend that Kendrick is some sort of underdog anymore, and you do not like it. You don't like how that feels. You don't. The term Grammy darling implies that Kendrick is, no longer viewed as an outsider or as anti-establishment, which are part and parcel of his brand, right? Those are words that would come up when describing Kendrick Lamar prior to the beef. No question about that. Hell, I would have described him that way. I mean, publicly on, all of my social media platforms, I have called him the Malcolm X of hip hop, right? In the past. And I've said this year many, many times that's what broke my heart, right? With this whole thing and his participation in the beef and whatever, right? And really his participation with being the working end of what UMG was trying to do to Drake. But that's another story for another day. The thing is, like I said, the term Grammy darling implies that Kendrick is, no longer being viewed as anti-establishment or as an outsider. But it in fact begs what I think anyway, is an excellent question. Was Kendrick always part of the machine? Was Kendrick pro-establishment? Was Kendrick actually an insider this whole time? These are fair questions at this point. Was Kendrick basically a corporate shill, right? That you all accused Drake of being this entire time. Think about the level of vindication that Drake has at this point, that many of us now see Kendrick the way that he has seen him, I think, for quite some time. But maybe he was hoping against hope, that wasn't the case. I'm not sure. Okay, so if Kendrick is Rocky Balboa, right? And he has now won the title, right? he has to defend it. This is how it works. You know, do I think that Kendrick obtained the title in a fair fashion? No, I don't. I've been as vocal as anyone about that. No, I don't. But there's no question he has it now. There's no doubt about that. You know, so Rocky won the belt. Now he has to defend it. The problem you all have is he's favored to win. He's favored to win now, right? And you all don't like that feeling when it comes to Kendrick. That feeling bothers you all, that Kendrick Lamar, who was the Rocky Balboa of hip hop, if you want to call him that. I could certainly argue different, but fine. Let's go with that. He was the Rocky Balboa of hip hop. He wins the title against all odds, right? And now he's forced to defend it, and he's favored to win. What do y'all do with that now? Because that's a new space. That's a new space for Kendrick Lamar, but that's also a new space for Kendrick Stans. The reason you all don't like this feeling is because deep down, you all know what I've known for a year and a half, which is that Kendrick obtained the title. He won the title, but he won it under suspicious circumstances. He won it under fishy circumstances. I have called him more than once the paper champion. Yeah, the paper champion. The paper champion is a term that many people have some, there are people that I think that have sort of debated where this term originated. From my research, the term originated after Muhammad Ali was forced to vacate his title when he was being prosecuted for evading the draft, or, you know, draft evasion or draft dodging, or whatever term you want to use. And they gave his title to basically the highest ranked contender, right? A person who had not earned the title because he had not beat Ali, right? Okay, it's the paper champion. That's where that term comes from. This is Kendrick Lamar. UMG effectively stripped Drake of the title by using Kendrick Lamar and the other rappers, right? And all their media outlets and everything that they have the power to do, and effectively handed that title over to Kendrick. That's not true. Kendrick won that title fair and square. He made the diss tracks. The diss tracks were released, and his diss tracks were better or more effective than Drake's. Well, if that were the case, why did Kendrick need help? If it was simply a matter of Kendrick just being better than Drake, why, oh why, did Kendrick need help? This is the question. You all are uncomfortable that you can no longer cheer on this lovable underdog, right? To victory the way that you used to, right? Because we won't allow you all any longer to pretend that Kendrick, is Rocky Balboa anymore, right? I could debate he never was, but fine. You sure as hell can't pretend that he's that anymore, right? You can't, because we're not going to let you. We're not going to let you. And listen, let's just get all the way down to it. Kendrick was never anti-establishment. He was never an outsider. He was just quiet. He was just quiet. Sometimes being quiet can make you look a little bit smarter than you really are. Sometimes being quiet can make you look a little more introspective than you actually are, a little more emotionally mature than you actually are. It can make you look a little more successful than you actually are. It can make you look a little more thoughtful than you actually are. Sometimes if you're quiet for long enough, people will come to your defense when you've been asked a question and people are waiting for you to respond. But because you're quiet and you don't respond as quickly as, other people do, you look a little bit more accountable, a little bit more responsible, a little bit more fill in the positive word than you actually are, simply because you're not saying anything. Now, I'm not saying that this is always a bad thing, but I'm saying in this context, this is what Kendrick Lamar has been. Where did Kendrick Lamar gain this reputation for being this fierce battle rapper? He's never been in a battle as a mainstream headlining rapper. He's never been in a battle. Think about this. There's rumors going around about this poetic justice theory, and I've already spoken about that on other platforms. I have another video coming up about that again, where we're gonna focus more on the theory itself and whatever. But where in the world, what in the world has Kendrick Lamar done to make people think that he wrote verses for Drake? Like, there is no evidence of this. And on top of everything else, you're telling me his writing is so much far and away better than Drake's that we would give him that kind of credit? Do you know how shocking that is and outrageous that is? Kendrick Lamar is an amazing MC. I'm not taking that from him. He's amazing. I'm not some Kendrick hater. I was as big a Kendrick fan as many of you. And he did something a year and a half ago that completely made me look at him different, because my eyes work and my brain works. I'm not going to pretend like what I'm seeing is normal and that I don't see the UMG's involvement and the other rappers' involvement, right? And UMG's partners' involvement. I can't force myself to pretend that what I'm seeing isn't happening. Many of you all are doing that, and that's your business, but I'm not joining in on that nonsense. So, am I a huge fan of Drake's? Sure, yeah, guilty as charged. But I was also a huge fan of Kendrick. So everything you hear me saying is from research. It's also from what I've witnessed and how Kendrick has moved and UMG has moved and Drake has moved, right? I don't know what to tell you. Kendrick was never anti-establishment. He was never actually an outsider. He was just quiet. Those are not the same thing. You all are assigning virtues to Kendrick's quietness that make absolutely no sense. It's just because you like him. Hell, I liked him, right? But my eyes work. Kendrick has won every award there is. Numerous times, except the Pulitzer, but the other awards he's won numerous times. He's been a shill for the label behind the scenes, and little by little, many of you are starting to see what I saw a year and a half ago. And not just me, but many of us have seen a year and a half ago. And some of you all are starting to see it. And rather than feel a sense of satisfaction, I feel like a collective, what is it? It's like trauma bonding, right? Like we're all seeing this person who we were such big fans of do the most treacherous thing I've ever seen done in hip hop from another rapper to another rapper that he owes so much of his early career to and his early success to, right? I've never seen anything quite like it. Well, what about when such and such rapper murked this other rapper? Those rappers probably weren't friends. Those rappers probably never worked together in any real capacity. The rapper that murked the other one, who, and again, fill in the blank because there are numerous examples, they probably didn't have a relationship whatsoever. But these two guys, they did. Even if it was mostly a working relationship, it was as successful as it's ever been. And you all have heard me say in the past that Drake gave Kendrick the absolute greatest runway to the start of his career that another rapper has ever given another rapper that they weren't related to, that they weren't on the same label with, right? That they had really no monetary interest in any real way. There's nothing like it. What about Dr. Dre and Snoop? They were on the same label, right? And we have a million other examples, but I'm telling you, they all had some sort of financial interest or some sort of, familial interest. They're related or what have you. That's not the case with Drake and Kendrick. It's just not, right? Kendrick's won every award there is, man. So, you can't go around saying that Kendrick was some sort of underdog that's just fighting his way, through the system. Nah, man, you don't win awards just because you're really good. If that were the case, there'd be a lot more people with Grammys and Pulitzers and Emmys and Tony Awards, but they're not. It's not how it works. These awards are super, super political, and we all know that. The absolute best part about Kendrick's rivalry with Drake over, the years. I don't mean just the battle. I mean over the years, because obviously we know that they've been at odds for a long time. But the absolute best part about Kendrick's rivalry with Drake over the years is that Drake's presence shielded Kendrick. Yeah, I think that's the best term. It shielded Kendrick from the scrutiny that normally comes with being the king of hip hop, right? There's a certain scrutiny that comes along with that. And Kendrick is just now starting to see a teeny tiny bit of it since he won the belt last year, right? And now he's had the belt for a year and a half, let's call it, okay? You could argue it's been less than that, but let's just call it a year and a half, okay? I'm telling you all that Drake's presence as Kendrick's foil, right? Meaning the thing that like juxtaposes the other thing, right? Drake has given Kendrick unintentionally a shield. He's been, Kendrick's foil all these years, and including the last year and a half, after the battle. This is the first time that Kendrick has had the belt firmly, has had the title firmly. Has been the king of hip hop firmly. And Kendrick is just now beginning to see and beginning to feel a teeny tiny bit the scrutiny that comes along with being the king of hip hop. All the murmurs that we've heard people say about hip hop not being in the top 40, hip hop, not being what it should be at this point, and it hasn't been performing well and blah, blah, blah. Now you could go, well, yeah, but how is that Kendrick's fault? And if it is, all of it can't possibly be his fault. And I would totally agree with you on that. But when you're the king of hip hop, listen, everything in your kingdom gets blamed on you. Yeah, that's unfair, isn't it? But that goes along with it. Welcome to the world, Kendrick. Welcome to the world. Welcome to the world of being the king of hip hop. You didn't earn the title in a fair and in a fair way. But again, that's another story for another day. But you are undoubtedly the king of hip hop. And these things are getting blamed on you little teeny tiny bit now. Could you imagine 6 months from now? Could you imagine another year from now? If hip hop continues going in this direction, what's going to happen, right? And the amount of blame that you're going to get, and people are going to begin to look deeper and deeper at how you obtained the title in the first place. And in my opinion, a lot more people are going to form the conclusion that I formed last April. I won't say last March when Like That came out. You know what? That's not true. Last March when Like That came out was when I formed this conclusion. I knew I saw the writing on the wall then. And so listen, say what you want, but I'm frankly enjoying seeing Kendrick Lamar begin to feel a teeny tiny bit of what Drake has handled with grace for 15 years, right? And if you don't think he was the king of hip hop 15 years ago, 14, 13, whatever, right? He's handled it with grace. Drake was a benevolent ruler. He ruled hip hop better than any king that hip hop has ever had. I would debate anybody on that fact, right? And so listen, many of us are sitting back and we're enjoying this show that we're seeing now. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing ends, because it's going to end.